Good morning. This is Gail Anderson, and this is Mentoring Moments for Moms. My goal in these scopes is just to connect with you, to be able to mentor and give you some ideas of issues that concern moms and talk about them between each other, and also just to connect you guys with each other. So I usually get on several days during the week and spend anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, and I hope you'll join us for these scopes. If you like what we're talking about, please tap on your screen and give me some hearts. If you want to share this scope with your followers or others, just swipe to the right and you'll be able to share that scope. We've been in what I would call a little series talking about the top 10 things that I would do again as a mom. Hi there, Janine. Good to see you. So, as I said before, these are things that I would do again. My kids are grown. They're ages 28 to 35. So really, I'm telling you about things that I did, that I look back on, that I like, that I'm glad that I did, and that I would do again as a mom. Now, I have determined this morning not to cry. It's really, today is just one of those ideas that I guess is very dear to my heart, and you'll understand why. So number 10 of the top 10 things I would do again as a mom is to record family life for my children. Now basically, we designed life in our family so that they felt like an important part of a group, a clan, something that was bigger than themselves. We wanted to have kind of an identity. We wanted to have traditions, funny sayings, theme songs, vacation cries, movies that we consider Anderson cult movies, and particular ways of doing things that other families didn't, so that our family was unique and our kids would draw toward our family. And I believe that kids are looking for this, and if they do not get it in their family, they're often going to get it in their peer group, which may or may not be a good thing. So part of my designing this life in our family was to also record what we did. And I said the other day, I'm kind of a journal junkie, and I don't really know how that happened. It's just that we started doing things and I got to thinking, man, I should write this down. I'm going to want to remember it. Because really, tracking those moments is part of it. It's great when you have the moments together, but when you can go back and just reminisce and look and talk about the funny things, talk about the good things, the bad things, the mistakes, the wins, it is so cool. I just can't stress that enough. Now, naturally, I did this in books because in my day, that's all we had. But you guys have all kinds of apps, and I can't even begin to tell you what kind of apps are good for this, but there are journaling apps, there's baby book apps, and you know what? When it's that easy and it's on your phone and you can do it when you're out standing in line at the grocery store, man, it's a much easier way to do it than when I did writing everything longhand like I did. So kids are so entertaining, and you want to remember the things that you did. And it's so cool now to be able to sit back and say, okay, when was that we went to Branson and we did thus and so? And we can actually look in our journal and find what we had. So we made priorities with the family, a high priority, but also I wanted to track things. One of the things we did was family nights, and I know lots of people do family nights. Well, way back in about 1985 when we started them, nobody was doing that stuff. Nobody. It just kind of developed. It was something that I think during the Christmas holiday season, I decided I wanted to have one special night a week where we did a Christmas activity. So we did that for the 4 weeks before Christmas, and we also had a nice dinner in the dining room instead of in the kitchen. And it was so much fun. We decided, wow, we should do these every Thursday night. And so we did, and that was all she wrote. We did it for years. We loved it. So I started tracking those things, handwritten in journals, and even just a short few sentences about what we did. And then since we rotated who planned the activities, that person was supposed to write it out in the book. And if they could not write, then mom would list the activity, and then the child would sign their name. So I love even going through here and seeing how their signatures changed. And we just laugh about Rebecca always planning the sports activities and Mom always planning the real creative way out stuff that people really didn't like, but they had to do because it was my night to plan. It was so much fun. We always were doing things that you didn't have to spend money doing, except when Mom and Dad planned it. So I've got family night journals where we recorded every week when we had family night. When we started camping as a family, we recorded where we camped, what the campsite was, what happened, and there's some hilarious stories from camping. I loved camping because I felt like it caused our family to be able to learn how to draw together, to cooperate, and also to hit adversity. Because when you're camping, not everything is fine, especially when you hit those rainy days and storms. This journal is this is kind of a seasonal journal, believe it or not. We had certain seasons where, not for our family night, but for another time, we'd be watching a movie series. So like during the winter, because you're not outside that much, we watched 5 Mile Creek one winter, and that's when I think we started doing these journals. So I would just make an entry at the end of each of the 4 seasons and just talk about what characterized us during that season. Any of you do this kind of stuff? If you have a good app that you're using to track any of this, could you write it in so you can share it with everybody else? I hope you enjoy what we're talking about, and I hope you've got some other ideas of things that are more current in ways to do this besides just handwriting things out. So, oh gosh, I know there's apps for all kinds of stuff, so I'm sure they're very, very prevalent. So do any of you keep track of this stuff besides baby books? What else do you keep track of? This journal is actually a journal that I used for my girls. I had twins, and because it was such a big deal, I wrote to them, talked about what they were like, what they did. I would love to find an app that would help keep me track of these types of memories. I probably should have looked it up, but I was hoping that there would be others of you on here who do this. I know there are journaling apps just for your quiet time in the morning. I want to say there's something called Momento that would be an app you could use for that. But find out. And you know what? If you get some great ideas or you're watching the replay, which, by the way, thank you for doing that, go ahead and write to me. My email's in the profile, and you'll be able to, I'll be able to share that with all the people who are following us. This is a real thin journal. This is just big dates in our family. You know, when we moved, what our address was, when somebody graduated from high school, when somebody got born again, just different things like that. That was very cool. And I just feel like a family that laughs together and shares such good times is going to stay together. You have to laugh together. You have to learn to be very lighthearted about the things that happen in a family, and you tend to be a lot closer when you can do that. So one of the other things that I want to share is something that I got from my daughter this week. This was a late birthday present, and she knows we're not supposed to do birthday presents. But when she said she had something for me, I said, you cheated. You weren't supposed to do that. And she said, well, it's already ordered. So she came over the other night and brought me this book. And you can imagine by the cover that it is about Rachel and my trip to Paris, which was absolutely the trip of a lifetime. It was amazing. So it's one thing to see the pictures. She is a fantastic photographer, and she took over 700 pictures on our trip. But these are the meaningful moments where we stayed. And of course, she wrote little things which just made me laugh. I mean, laugh so hard I was crying, because we did have some funny things happen. Like when we walked down to the Seine by the Eiffel Tower, the very first day we were there, and we bought ice cream, and they wanted us to pay in euros, and we had no euros. And we had to actually explain in French what the problem was. Rachel went racing around for 20 minutes trying to find a teller machine and never could. So I had to explain to them in French, because they didn't speak English, this was just an ice cream stand, how we were going to have to come back and pay them tomorrow. And they were like, oh, no problem. And of course, when we came back and paid, I mean, they fell over. And the gentleman who was taking the money just said, I will never speak bad of Americans again. But these kind of things just remind me of how cool it is to track your trips. Now, I'm sure lots of you do this stuff, and please do. Even on your vacations, have a little book printed up so that you can remember. And it's the little comments underneath that remind me of the different things that happened on our trip. So it was very, very, very meaningful and just cool to have. So since we're at the very end of this series, or whatever you call it, the top 10 things I do again as a mom, I just want to be able to share a few things with you just from the standpoint of what would a great mom do. So what would a great mom do? She would value her time with her children, take time to sow into her children and show them how much she loves them. She would teach them to put others first and to curb self-centeredness. She would have enough structure and boundaries that everyone is safe and happy. She would consistently reinforce favorable qualities in her children and correct negative behavior in her children when needed. She would make life in her family fun and would establish ways of doing things that are unique to her family only and help her children to feel they are part of something bigger than themselves. Thank you. Sure appreciate your comments, you guys. And thanks for watching. And I'll be on next week with a whole new set of issues that moms want to talk about. We haven't talked about health or simple living or household management for a while, so I got to get caught up on some of those. You are welcome, Sydney. Thank you. Sure enjoy connecting with all of you, and keep writing in. I enjoy it. Some great blogs this week on KirbyAnderson.com about asking your husband for help. And then my husband wrote one for Monday from the man's standpoint, what he can do to help his wife. So you guys got to check those out and have your husbands read my husband's article. So have an awesome weekend, and God bless all of you.